Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party. We just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.
What up? You know what it is. I'm here with Dr. David. Katrina's got some stuff going on in the house, so she's not going to be on today. Kyron's writing comic books. You know, he's always in and out. We will have a special correspondent. He's out on assignment right now, so as soon as he can get his satellite up, he might even be on location somewhere. Who knows? He'll be joining us shortly to talk about some stuff. We know and speaking of that correspondent, there's a Wednesday game on. I wonder why we did Wednesdays. But looks like the Kings are winning. I didn't even, is it halftime already?
Right now.
Oh, it's almost halftime. They're up by 12 right now. I saw most of the second quarter. I was kind of getting ready for the show. First quarter was good. I like the energy I've seen. Caldwell had a couple nice plays. Nick looks like he's getting a little bit more comfortable day by day now after starting off the season rough. Monk's back in the lineup. I like that. I definitely like that. He's giving them some energy. I don't know, man. I'm not – David, we talk at this ad nauseum. It's not like I'm expecting them to all of a sudden become this play-in team or whatever it is, whatever people think. But they're a little bit more exciting to watch now. I mean, they're a little more palatable. Mm-hmm. Other than some of the veteran stuff I can do. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But seeing some of these young guys blossom, seeing some of these guys get tick and make little plays here and there, sometimes make mistakes too, right? But at least the team is watchable, I have to say.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I would say over the last maybe 2 weeks, this is probably the team we thought we would get. Maybe you win one, lose one, win two, lose two. I don't think we thought we were going to get the lose 5 in a row 3 separate times this season or something like that, to get to this, to where they are now. So, I mean, I think this is kind of the team that most people expected, inconsistent, but, again, win one, lose one. So we'll see going forward. Like I said, obviously we're going to be talking about, trade deadline and all that stuff today, but I think Monk being back in the lineup has a lot to do with some of the excitement,
Right.
It was just almost unbearable to watch sometimes, these guys before Domas came back. And so I don't know. We'll see what we get. Like I said, I don't expect us to all of a sudden move it around or anything like that, but at least like you're saying, it's watchable right now.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been one about tanking. I don't believe in tanking as far as I'm not going to sit there and root for it. I'll never root for my team to lose. Even if in the back of my head is yeah, it'd be great to get the number one pick, blah, 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 all that good stuff. I'm never going to sit there outright and want to see my team lose. If I'm emotionally invested in a team, no matter how bad they are, it's still going to upset me if they lose. You know what I'm saying? Some part of me. Doesn't mean I have to be majorly upset, but I'm still going to be a little bit upset. But I think watching some of these guys grow, seeing if all these guys, Max and Neek and Keegan when he comes back, and Dylan, if I see them continuously grow while they're losing or while they're being average or below average or whatever it is they are, it's a little bit more palatable. It's a little bit more, gives me hope for the future of the team after the season. And then we see, as we do every offseason, we see what they're going to do. And hopefully Scott Perry has something in his bag, and hopefully by trade deadline. But I honestly, in my head, I've already convinced that they make no moves whatsoever, because I don't want to be angry. So I'm all right, dude, you're not going to make any moves. And maybe part of that is nobody wants anything, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Or just maybe, you're just okay with it being what it is, and we'll see in the offseason when you can start making some of those moves. Who knows? But I've already conceded in my own head that they're not going to make moves. So if any move they make, to me, that's a bonus at this point. So, you know.
Yeah, agreed. And then you just said the name that I keep forgetting that at no time or at no point in this season has Keegan and Domas ever played together. You know, again, I don't know if that equates to wins or anything like that, but you know, I think to begin the season, I think that's one of the players that like me, you, Katrina, and Kyron, we all kind of named as somebody we thought, okay, let's see what they got. If this guy takes a jump, maybe they can be something, but we just haven't seen anything from him because he's been injured or, you know, Domas has been gone. And so, you know, again, like you know, like you said, I like to see how he develops with these young guys. And, you know, one of the things the guys got into today is talking about how Levine and Sabonis and some of the veterans didn't play that much in the fourth quarter of last game. And, you know, they lost, but, you know, I think that's kind of what people, I wouldn't even say pro tank crowd, but I think the people who are kind of resigned to the fact that this season isn't going to be that good. This is what we want to see, though. We want to see if these young guys can play. We want to see if they can, you know, develop, and if the Kings have a core. Because right now, I mean, other than what, maybe Keegan, who's core on this team right now that you want to see moving forward? You know, who is that? You know, I would say other than Keegan, I know we love Monk, but I don't think the Kings see him as core.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what we want to see. We want to see if these young guys develop into becoming that, so that the Kings can now build off of that. But, you know, I think I'm with you too. I'm resigned to the fact that I don't think the Kings are going to be able to move off any of these contracts. You know, so we'll see what happens. But I did find it interesting, though, to Kenny's point. You know, since this team has been losing, man, they only had 11,000 people there last game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you again? I haven't really been out there. I don't live in Sacramento. Like, do you think that's more of that's going to come? You know, do you think there's going to be more sparse crowds, or do you think that was an aberration?
That's a good question, because I know it was a national televised game, but when I saw that crowd rocking, and the other day, last week? Again, I said it last week, actually. I was talking about how, like, that kind of upset me a little bit, like, oh yeah, I just showed up because it's on national television. But like, I do think the longer the season goes, and especially if they don't make any moves, and this is what they're stuck watching, and, you know, especially with Levine and DeMar and Sabonis, I do think unless the prices like dramatically drop, which they have, like I get those fast break text messages, and like today's game was like $18 for upper level, which is, you know, $18. Maybe I will go to a game just to take the little one, or just to see some people there, right? Or just hang out with friends, like, you know. So like stuff like that, like I could see people show up, but I think a lot of season ticket holders are definitely, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, if I have time, I'll go, but I'm not going to make this I have to go to today's game. Like, oh, it's the Kings playing today. No, if I don't have nothing else to do, cool. Especially during the weekday. Like, people have jobs, like, and if you don't have a team that's in contention, or a team that's even anywhere near sniffing anything, like, you got things to do. You got places to be tomorrow, work and stuff like that. Like, nobody trying to spend all that money on a team that's going to lose by 15 half the time. Like, that's just the reality of it. No matter how much of a diehard people say they are, like, I don't buy that either. Oh, I'm a diehard. I'm going to go no matter what. Like, cool, bro. Cool to be you. Like, I got better things to do with my money. I might go if somebody invites me or something, but like, that's not something I necessarily am running to go do, right? So I do think it's going to continue to be kind of hovering at a certain point. But I've also seen in some of your guys' lean years, even when I wasn't here and I'd watch it on TV, like, people still showed up to games in that 16-year drought. So, you know what I'm saying?
Like you're saying too. I mean, I think lately this team's been a lot more watchable, so maybe that'll help things out. But yeah, no, I mean, that's tough. You know, like on a Tuesday night, you know, paying for parking, paying for food, you know, and having to do all that, you know, when they're just not appointment television right now either.
Yeah.
You know, so. But
going back to the veterans real quick, like, I still want to say, I still think some of them are getting too many minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as it's been, you know, I know there's been a shift in the fourth quarter somewhat at times. I I'd still like to see some of those minutes creep up a little bit more for some of these young guys. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry, I just kind of went on a tangent right there.
Yeah, no.
What do you think about that? Like, are you from the outside? Like, I know you're a Kings fan, but like, do you think there should be even more discrepancy in the minutes? And by the way, it's 61-52 halftime. Kings are up. Or are you okay with the way it's being balanced right now in the last couple games?
I can't remember who said it today. I think it was either Damian or Jesse. I can't remember who said it, but I think knowing what the record is now, if we were somewhere like a couple games under 500 or something like that, then yeah, play the veterans. But now that we know this team is, well below 500, they're what's the record right now? Is it 12 and
something
whatever?
Ridiculously bad?
Yeah, something. But yeah, no, I think that the minutes for the vets have to go down, and I think it was Damian who was saying today that they have to know what it is. These guys, or maybe it was Ham. I can't remember. Shows are bleeding together, but they were saying that these guys were on the other end of this when they were young players. They had to have replaced a vet at some time, so these guys have to know what's going on. Your team's not good. These guys got to develop. Sorry, your minutes are going to have to go down. I think at this point I'm for that. Like I said, if we were closer to 500, maybe firmly in one of the play-in spots, then no, man, you got to go for it. But at this point, to answer your question, yeah, I'm for the younger guys getting minutes and guys maybe learning how to play together in the fourth quarter. And I think for a group like this, yeah, it's going to take playing time to get that experience. So for me, yes, I am for them getting more minutes and giving them to the young guys and some of the veterans maybe not having those fourth quarter minutes. What about you?
No, I'm 100% on that. The more minutes they get to me, let them get all the mistakes out of the way. If they play terrible, I'm still not about yanking them and necessarily putting them on the bench. They need to get time. If it's not here, then put them in the G League. Like, I need those guys to get minutes. Team is not going anywhere. So what's the point of them sitting on the bench? I'm not saying that the veterans shouldn't get minutes. I still think they need to be in the mix. And truth be told, I think the one guy that's going to end up being the biggest malcontent about this is probably going to be Domas. I think he's going to be the one that's going to be the hardest to accept where he's going to end up being. And I think that's going to be a really interesting thing going into this trade deadline. If I know he's kind of on a minutes restriction with the injury. I'm not sure if they're using that as an excuse right now or if that is just what the case is. But at some point, knowing him and the way he likes, being involved, playing minutes, and he seems to have behind the scenes a loud mouth about stuff. Like, I know he doesn't say stuff in public, but it seems like the more we learn over the last couple of years, he voices his opinion strongly in private to the coaches, to the organization. I think he's going to have a big issue with this stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think DeMarza is a consummate pro. I think even Zach, to an extent, is a consummate pro. And I think him making $50 million a year, he's going to be fine. But I think it's Domas that has more of the ego-driven part of this, where it's gonna be interesting in the coming months on how he reacts to if this is the continuous march of this team with the minutes and how Doug deals with that. So.
Oh yeah, and for all the joking around earlier about him, having ankle soreness or sitting out, and not being a tough guy or nothing like that, but Domas likes to play basketball, and he's going to want to play and he's going to want to compete. So that's a good point. I don't see him, just wanting to sit and lose games, especially when he could be there to help. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to some of the stuff, especially with Cardwell and Maxime getting a little bit more minutes there. So we'll see if he learned anything from Russ too, because he always credits Russell Westbrook for showing him how to be a pro. And Westbrook, for all of his faults, he does take some of those young guys under his wing, and he expects to pass that torch, and he's been really cool that way. I wonder if Domas is going to accept some of that too, but I think I agree with you. I don't think he is. I think he's going to want to play every minute he can.
And I think some of that's a shame too, because I think, as you know, we all talk about Domas's faults, but in the grand scheme of things, I think Max can learn a lot about playing toughness, rebounding, knowing where the ball is. Like, there's other things obviously he's not going to learn, right? Defense or other things, but I think I just think somebody that young, you know, you want to grab a little bit of everything from all the veterans you can to learn. And I think one of the things Max can definitely teach them is toughness, is rebounding, and being aware. You know, I would say it's like Rodman. Like, Rodman was always phenomenal at knowing exactly where the ball was going to be coming off. Like, he would tell you he did, you know, stuff on trajectory of watching where the ball spun. He knew how it was going to bounce off the rim if it came off the rim to what side of the rim. So there's an art to it for the ones that want to learn and study. So I think Domas is a good person to learn that kind of stuff from. But I want to kind of get into the trades a little bit, and to do that, because it's so close to home, I had to light my candle so I can summon him. So I lit my little cereal candle that was bequeathed me by my friend, the one and only Dru Down. Oh, look at that. Look, it's Dru.
Yeah.
What's up,
What's
y'all?
up, Dru?
What's happening?
Bro, where you at, man? Where you at wearing a jacket, bro? Like, you're inside.
Hey, first of all, me and my jacket is none of your business. If I want a jacket in my house, I will. And I'm in a spot I call the 2-minute drill. Some people call it a bedroom, but call it the 2-minute drill, aka the no cuddle zone. Got to score quick, you know what I mean?
Just a minute 30 more than what my room is. So I hear you, brother. I hear you.
You young guys are bragging right now.
What's up, man? Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Do you want me to play the video first, or do you want to lead something into it?
Well, I mean, yeah. So I sent you the clip. So there's a lot of talk about Kuminga and how, you know, Kerr hates him and we're sabotaging him, blah blah blah. But I don't think it's that deep, man. I think it's simple basketball. Jimmy Butler occupies the same space on the floor that Kuminga wants to operate in, and Kuminga's not a great shooter. So it's just it's spacing, and you know, Kerr loves his spacing. So I think people are you know, trying to make more of it than what it really is. It's purely basketball. But yeah. So if you want to, go ahead and play the clip. This was Kerr on 95.7 today.
I think, you know, part of the reservation of playing him in recent weeks is that it's tough to play him with Jimmy. It's just not a great combination. I've said that, you know, publicly. And then when you play shorter burst guys like Guy and Gary, you know, you those are better roles. Those are better players for those roles than Jonathan. But when Jimmy's out, there's definitely a role for JK, and he will play a role. And I was really pleased with his play last night. I thought he did a great job of staying ready and, you know, keeping his rhythm. And he played a great game last night.
Yeah.
So people are going to hear that. People are going to call BS. They're going to say, you know, people are going to have their own opinion. But I think it's purely, in my opinion, I think it's purely basketball. You know, Kuminga looked good. He had 20 last night. They lost. And not saying that was, you know, on him, but Curry and Draymond didn't play a lot of the second half. So that's where it's like, yeah, he scored 20 and that's great with them off the floor, but he kind of needs the ball a little bit to operate. You know, I mean, he wants the ball, I should say. He don't need it. He can score without the ball, but he kind of wants to have the ball. And when you're playing an offense with Steph Curry and Draymond, it's like your role is to play off of them. They shouldn't, you know, they don't need to play off of you. You got to play off of them. So I just think that, you know, there's just some disconnect on the court, and it hasn't worked. Jimmy's gone. You know, so maybe Kuminga can you know, get some minutes. I'm not necessarily buying the fact that they're going to keep him through the deadline. I think that's posturing, but you know, at least with Jimmy out, I think he'll probably will. You know, see if there's more time for him on the court. There's more space for him to operate with Jimmy out.
So with Jimmy out, so first I want to say one thing about this, like, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think, like with Kerr says, I get it. I don't think there's I don't think there's any lie in that. I think it's a basketball facts that he's bringing up, and it makes sense. But I also think two things can be true at the same time. And I don't think that him and Kuminga's relationship is necessarily the best. And if I take what he said to heart, then my next question for him would have been, well, if that's the case, then why even sign him in the offseason? Because Jimmy was healthy at that point. If you knew you couldn't play him and he had no role as long as Jimmy was here, then what was the point of the contract? What was the point of signing him? What was the point of this going on until the fact that Jimmy got hurt? You know what I'm saying? And now the role was forced upon him.
What was the point of Warriors trading for D'Angelo Russell when KD left? Russell and Curry played the same position, right? What'd they do with D'Angelo Russell? They traded him for Wiggins and a first-round pick, and ironic enough, that first-round pick turned out to be Jonathan Kuminga. So I think people can poo-poo it or they can feel how they want to feel, but that's just how they operate. Cap space is at a premium. If you're over the cap, you're an apron team. You have a player that maybe doesn't fit, but that salary slot he's an expensive salary filler. I mean, I don't think there's anything personal with Kerr. I just think that the things that they want him to do, it's just I don't think he's a great short burst player like Kerr was saying. I think he plays better when he has some freedom and all that, which is great, but you can't prioritize the development of a 22-year-old over winning. And that's what I find. That's what I find to be, pretty funny. Is like Kerr needs to do a better job. He hates the young guys. It's like Quentin Post is playing, Brandon Podziemski's playing, Moses Moody's playing, Will Richard, a second-round rookie, is playing. Pat Spencer gets. So I'm just like, Pat Spencer's not that young, but I think the thing that he hates young guys and he can't develop players. I think that's just an easy cop out for because of Kuminga. There's plenty of guys that he's developed. It's just that they have Steph Curry. Their job is to win, and I think Curry's a little stubborn with his system. I definitely think Curry's a little hard-headed but at the same time, that system has won him 4 titles. He's seen it work at the highest levels, So there's some stubbornness with him, but to answer your question long-winded, it's an asset. It's a salary filler that they can use to move it and improve their team. It's people might not understand it or think that the Warriors are they're messing around and they sit on they should have done this a while ago. Fact of the matter is they're waiting for the right deal to come along. Will it not come along? Maybe, but in their eyes, they're going to be patient and they're going to wait, until maybe a team gets desperate around the deadline, and see who blinks first. So it's the reason they brought him back is because it's one of the only avenues they had to really, bring in an impact player or match that kind of salary. So I think it's pretty much that. It's worked for them before. So
yeah, I think it's purely a business decision. I've said it on here. I don't actually fault the Warriors for doing what they're doing. You're not gonna, if you think you could get something else, you're obviously gonna take the best deal. But kind of going back to what you were talking about, Drew, with regards to playing style and things like that, and it not being personal, or he not being in Kerr's doghouse and stuff like that. Do you think that he should have been getting coaches' decisions? Not playing though. Some DNPs because maybe he's not this or he's not that, but you can't tell me that he's not the 7th or 8th best player on the team and that he could help them in some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? So do you really think he should not have been getting no minutes?
Yeah, it's tough because he doesn't play well in those short kind of bursts really, because off the bench you got to bring energy, rebound, and he wants to, as Guru would say, he wants to do the dribble, do his little in and out move that he does. So it's like I agree he's skilled and he can do some things, but for this team, that's not the way they run their offense. You know what I mean? They're very much, and sometimes I feel like I get frustrated with their offense. Pass, right? Everyone's standing around the key. I'm like, man, somebody at least Kuminga. To your point, David, I like Kuminga because he'll go to the lane. He might get stripped. He might throw an air ball. But at least he attacks, and I do like that about him. But it's just I think it's the little things that he doesn't do that Kerr gets frustrated on. Is a screen. He goes under the screen, leaves a shooter open for a three. Things like that people don't really see, and those are the things that Kerr is what really is gonna anger him. You know what I mean? Like you're coming off the little things like team defense, getting lost. Things like that where it's like he is skilled, but basketball, some people might disagree, but basketball is about more than just scoring. I know some people think that buckets are everything, but if you can't play good team defense, if you're getting lost, if you're not, if you're lost on defense and on offense, you're kind of Curry's open and you want to. It's just I don't think it's necessarily that he's not his skill. It's just that the little things that he doesn't do. Shot goes up, he's standing in the corner, bro. Crash the boards. I think it's those little things that like Gary Payton does or D Santos does, and people might say, oh, that's for Jonathan Kuminga's 100 times better than Gary Payton or Guy Santos. And that might be, but this ain't a one-on-one game. It's a team game. Gary Payton knows his role. Dunker spot, defense, rebound. Guy Santos comes in like Anderson Varejao, right? Just plays with energy and just throwing his body all over the floor. Pause. But those little things like that, I don't think Kuminga does. He develops that. He gets a better feel for the game. But I think, the way Kerr is just that, if you're not – you got to do those little things, things that contribute to winning that may not show up on a stat sheet. Those are the things I think that Kerr and the coaching staff, want to see him do. And I don't think you're 22 years old. I don't think he's in a position to, demand, a bigger role. It's like, do what you need to do to win it. And then, if you prove yourself, then maybe, you expand into a bigger role. But I just think he doesn't do the little things off the bench that other guys, do consistently. So I think it's not personal. It's just basketball.
See, my only issue with, and nothing you said is I didn't hear anything that you said where I was like, you're wrong. Like I agree on damn near every point to a T. My only issue is when you present me with that evidence, I revert back to, all right, cool. But he wasn't going to change during this offseason. He wasn't going to especially the way he played hard-nosed on the negotiations. So like, if you've got this dude, this superhuman dude that averages 27 points a game right now, and he's this, first ballot Hall of Famer, greatest shooter to ever play the game, and you're setting up for one more run, whether it's this year, next year, whatever it is. And really, at this point in life with him, you don't know when that dip is going to come. You don't know when that 27 turns into 20, turns into 15, right? Like, especially somebody he's not LeBron, right? He's not this 6'8" stature, human specimen. He takes care of his body, he does a lot of
things change. Jimmy
right.
Butler, for example, you know what I'm saying? Things can change.
Even that, like, I thought that was too much for Jimmy. I saw the decline coming at a mile a minute with Jimmy. I thought he could still be a lot of what Jimmy was, but he was never going to be old Jimmy Butler again in my eyes. But I understood, right? They had to go for this last run. But in saying that, if you're gonna go all in on Jimmy and give him this ridiculous contract, cool. But then here you are playing hardball with Kuminga, where it's like, in my eyes, it's like he's never going to be what you want him to be. He's made that abundantly clear. This dude only got a short span for this championship run. Go get somebody that's going to help this champion. Because even with Jimmy being healthy right now, this was not a Warriors team unless they made another move by the deadline that was going to win a championship.
I agree.
Right. So, like, something got to give because this dude only got so much time left. So why even have this whole Kuminga drama going on at this point? Like, have somebody on your team that actually could contribute. And I was talking about when Jimmy was still playing, instead of this dude that's just sitting there, you're paying $30 million a year or whatever.
22.5, relax.
All right, 22.5, which can go to a lot of other people.
Let me stop you real quick. Bro, personally, I don't give a shit. That's not my money. That's why I don't care, bro. Break the bank.
I don't care either.
They're over the cap. I don't care how much you paying this guy. But the problem is in the past, I agree, they probably should have moved on. But the thing is his salary wasn't very much. As a rookie,
but it's still
you're not making a lot of money.
You're paying somebody $22.5 million to sit on the bench. So that's $22.5 million you could have spent on someone to actually give you meaningful minutes.
No.
Why couldn't you? Why couldn't you?
No, you could not have. They were over the cap. They're over the cap. They're first apron. They could not have gone out and signed anybody for more than the minimum.
Okay. Give me someone the minimum then. Someone that actually plays the
They
game.
did. They signed Anthony Melton. They signed Harper.
Someone else too. Anybody.
But look, this is the thing though. I get it and all that, but they signed him this year is because number one, more than likely to trade him, and a pipe dream would be okay. Maybe he fits in and he buys in and yada yada. That probably was unlikely, but it's like they're trying to get a better deal, but it's not like they could have just gone out if they didn't sign Kuminga. They could have gone out and replace and signed a.
I know that.
They couldn't.
I get that.
And even
but they better use him for something. They better use him for something.
With the Kings and all that, and I me, bro, I crashed out on everybody, and I was right, but whatever. It's like there was no teams had cap space. Nobody could sign him to an offer. Nobody had cap space at the Nets. They obviously didn't want him, and the whole base year compensation rule. His salary would only count as half as going out. So they really were a little bit limited.
You're telling me you wouldn't take Monk over Kuminga?
But see, like that's what I'm saying. But Monk has a 3-year deal. Monk has money. They don't want that money in the future. These are things that people.
But why do you care?
They don't
Again,
understand.
If you don't care about the money, then who cares?
They want they don't want to commit long-term money. Stephen Curry and Draymond and Jimmy after next year they're off the books. They don't want money that's going to be extended into that.
But that's my point. It comes back full circle to if either be all in on getting this dude a championship or don't. Or I was going to say this. I know this is the most blasphemous thing to say at this point, but if you're not 1,000% all in on trying to get this dude a championship, and I'm not saying they are or they aren't. I'm just saying if you're not 1,000% and you're not willing to even take poison money later so that this dude can get one more shot this year or next year, then ask dude if he's ready to go and send him somewhere and get all the draft capital that you want. Get all this stuff so that 2 years from now you're already ready to go. You're not missing a beat. All that. That's my thing. But if you're sitting there saying I'm trying to get you one more championship, then do it. Eat the money.
This is my thing. Manny, let me ask you a question. Is Malik Monk the missing piece for the Warriors to a championship?
No.
Exactly. Okay. Case closed then.
But who is?
I don't know. They're like Michael Porter Jr. Nobody's guaranteed. A championship isn't guaranteed. But I don't think Malik Monk is the best return that you can get, especially with the way you have Podziemski playing, Anthony Melton's playing well. You have guards that are playing well. You don't need another high usage, high volume scorer. That's not what they need.
Right.
They need a guy who can shoot the three, who can provide some offensive punch, but a guy who they don't need another guard. They need a forward. And Kerr loves his guards. You know what I mean? But Kerr should have coached the Kings, man. Monty McNair and him would have had a fucking field day at the draft. But I just think it's not that they don't want to take on money. It's just that it's like I'll go back to this. They're waiting for the right deal. And just because other teams think that they should speed up and they should go on their timeline, that doesn't matter. They're waiting for their right deal.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get that.
It might not come around. Maybe it doesn't. But I just don't think that the Warriors should be in a rush to accept Malik Monk. Like, no disrespect. Malik Monk's a nice player. But for the Warriors, they don't need another small guard. They got plenty of those. They need something else. So I just think that people think that because they want this saga to end or they don't understand the Warriors should just get rid of Kuminga and take whoever. It's like that's not how it works, man. They're calculated and they're gonna wait until the right deal comes along. So
in all that being said, Drew, to your point earlier, which I actually agree with, there's a lot of things that Kuminga doesn't do for Kerr's system, but those are things that all coaches ask players to do, especially players who aren't going to be your stars. So all that being said, what do you think the Warriors fans, Warriors media think they're going to get for Kuminga then? And I'm not saying take the Kings. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, if we're talking about including this guy in a package to go get, another star for Steph, do you really think that's going to happen? Like, what if you're seeing all this stuff, the Warriors are seeing all this stuff, and Kerr seeing all this stuff? Who the hell's going to want to give up something for this guy then, unless the Warriors include 3 or 4 first round picks?
Yeah, no. I hear you. That's why, and that's a great point because you have Warrior fans who oh, JK sucks. And then, it's the same thing with the Kings, right? Like, Sabonis sucks, but let's trade him for – I don't see them like trading him for a superstar. The player that I wanted, but obviously with the Jimmy injury out now, I don't know if it's a moot point. But I like Michael Porter Jr. I think he's a great fit for them. He's 6'10". He can shoot the lights out. He can rebound. He's a low maintenance player, kind of like he's not Klay Thompson, but he kind of like Klay. There's not a shot that he don't like, and he hits a lot of them. So I don't know what the Nets want. You know what I mean? So that's that. Yeah, to your point, David, that's kind of where it's not. That's why it's not that simple. You know what I mean? It's like the Warriors may like a player, but what can they offer enough assets to satisfy them? Or maybe a team wants Kuminga, but maybe the team is offering Dario Saric and Devin Carter. Like, no one's gonna take that deal.
Bro, you could have had the corpse of Dario Saric and been happy with it, and you guys didn't want it.
Man,
they've already gone through that. That's for sure.
No, thank you.
But again,
so I mean, it's not that simple, and I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I have the answer for you, but I just think it's ludicrous to people like they should just get rid of him and just take whoever. It's like, nah, dude. Like,
no, I agree with you on that.
James Ham with this. If you have a $5 million house, it's worth $500,000. It's only worth $5 million. It's like, well, you don't take the first offer. Someone come and try to lowball you. You wait around for that right deal. Kind of like the Jordan Poole thing. It wasn't a great trade, but they got off his money. It only took one team to trade for Jordan Poole. It only takes one team. You know what I mean? And I don't know who that team is. And
that's Rudy Gobert.
It might be a 3-team deal. Maybe they got to get creative. And David, they might have to package Kuminga and Moody and a pick to get. So it's like it's not just a straight Kuminga trade across. I think it could involve different pieces. So I don't know. It is a little saga, but I'm like the Warriors have been through much more drama than this. You know what I mean? KD is he leaving or is he going every single day in like 2018, 2019? They've had a lot of the Draymond points. They've been through a I didn't mention DeMar's name, but whatever. I mentioned Malik Monk, and I mentioned Dario Saric, and DeMar DeRozan is interesting. I'll say that. Before with Jimmy, I said, hell no, it doesn't fit, but I don't.
What about Zach?
With Jimmy out, DeMar kind of, could fill. He's not the same player as Jimmy. Jimmy I think, is a much, more well-rounded all-around player.
If I was the Warriors, I wouldn't trade for DeMar.
I agree.
Sorry,
I don't think so. I'm just like, DeMar is like it makes a little bit more sense. I don't think it made sense at all before. With Jimmy out, it makes a little bit of sense because he can score in ISO kind of like Jimmy, but that's kind of what Kuminga is not nowhere near as polished as DeRozan, but that's kind of the way Kuminga wants to play. So I don't think DeRozan is an answer, but it's just I just think they're waiting for the right deal. So the Warriors, this isn't a distraction. They've been through much more stuff than this. So I don't see how this is gonna like derail them, but it's interesting, especially with Jimmy out. That
changes everything.
That
definitely changes everything.
That shakes up a lot. So I really don't know what way they're gonna go, but I mean.
By the way, I like I said, I 99.5% agree with everything that you said, but also just like to bring in the other side just to get the argument going. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate the back and forth. I just can't stand when people are like trying to, act as if the Warriors are some incompetent like dumpster fire of an organization, and Mike Dunleavy Jr. is an idiot. I've heard that uttered on airways, and I'm like, Mike Dunleavy Jr. is an idiot because he's trying to get the best deal he can for his team. Sorry that he won't trade you Kuminga for what you want. I'm like, that doesn't make Mike Dunleavy an asshole. That makes Mike Dunleavy doing his job. Will he get the best return? I don't really know, but some of that discourse to me is just insane. It's like this team has won 4 titles. They were nothing before Lacob took over. They're a model organization. They like Jimmy Butler talked about it. They fly your families to playoff games, private plane. Like this is not some dysfunctional org. Like this is a unique situation. But I just find that to be.
The flip side. No, I was going to say the flip side to all that too is, it's funny hearing some Warriors fans, talk about Scott Perry and the Kings because I honestly believe I don't
put the pipe down, brother. Come on, man.
I don't think that talks were as extensive as people are making out. I think Scott Perry said, "Hey, if you're getting rid of them, we'll give you this." Warriors said no. Kings said, "All right."
Let me ask you a question.
And then when they
ask you a question, David.
What?
So all those reports, right, between the trades, where were those reports coming from?
Who the hell knows?
No, but what side? Were the leaks about the trade coming from the Warriors or coming from the Kings?
I think at times both.
Nah, they're coming from the Kings.
I think they're coming from both.
Matt George and James Ham talking about the King Boss. That was coming from that side. I didn't.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming from that side, but I think it's coming from Kuminga's people.
Possibly, yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree with that, but yeah, no, I agree. That they were making it sound like that was a done deal. I was like, and I said it. I I don't want to toot my own horn, but I said that, bro, there's no way in hell that deal gets done, man. So, I mean, it's complicated. I don't know, but I just find like, yeah, maybe they're taking their time and maybe they overplayed their hand. Whatever the case may be. Shout out Kenny, but I just think that the fact that they're taking their time and try not to lose an asset for nothing when you can debate the value of that asset, that's fine, but at the end of the day they don't have cap space to sign another player, so that 22.5 is one of the only avenues they have to maybe obtain a more impactful player. So I don't think it's that deep, man. People are getting their feelings about
well, that was my point. I don't think it was as extensive, and I don't think it was as close, and I don't as people are making it out. I don't. And I don't blame the Warriors, and I don't blame the Kings. No. I mean, if the Warriors were going to give them up for that, good on the Kings. But I don't. I think the Warriors said no, and I think the Kings said all right. And I think if they revisited anything, it was, hey, are you changing your mind? Nope. All right.
Yeah, the Kings were sending them a text to Lake up at 2 a.m. You up? Like, nah.
Yeah.
You sleeping?
I mean, damn. I do think though that while I agree they're being patient, they're waiting to see. I think the Butler thing does speed up a little bit internally of that timeline, and like they know they need to get something done.
Deadlines,
and I'm not saying they will. Like maybe
deadlines make deals though, right?
Yeah.
When the pressure gets turned up, that's when it's procrastination. We all have been there, right? We got an assignment due 10 o'clock the night before, but you get busy, you get it done. You know what I mean? It's just like I think that's and it might not work. I said this could backfire on them. Maybe nothing happens. I don't know, but I don't. It's not as simple as just get rid of them. And Kerr hates him. Kerr's racist. Kerr doesn't like. He plays pause. He's racist. Bro, I'm not kidding. I've heard these calls on the air, dude. It's insane to me.
I mean, look at his son's name. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, it's possible, bro. It's possible. That might be an inside joke sometime. Like they were in the waiting room. They were in that delivery room. Like, yo, babe.
I don't know about that. But no, it's basketball and it's business. It's basketball and it's business, and that's what I'll leave it at. Basketball and business, nothing personal.
TC, how the hell do you know how many times they've talked?
TC, the most emotional man in the second. The Warriors.
Bro, you don't know.
Like they tried to trade Shanahan, but he said no.
I love you, big dog.
I do too. TC's my guy, but I was like, what the hell do you know?
He's hilarious.
Hey, quick story, real quick. I gotta run. That's cool. So when we went to the Thousands live show, me and Manny were sitting together, and we thought we seen TC, right? But we didn't know if it was him. We thought it was him. It looked like a TC. Like he was like vibes were hot. We didn't know. So me and Manny just started like kind of shouting his little taglines, like, "Hey, be real with yourself." And he finally turned.
He finally looked over. That is a true story.
Nah, shout out TC. He's good people, man.
No, he is.
He is good people. I love TC. I don't care what your boy says about me, TC. We good, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, shit.
Anything else you wanted to touch on, or any other?
Well, I want to reiterate one. Like again, I want to ask you one thing about. I know it's
one more thing after that.
The most ridiculous concept I understand is trading Steph, but let's say
no.
If a deal doesn't get done, you wouldn't do that for him. You wouldn't approach him and be like, Steph, what you want?
No.
What you want?
Stop.
Come on, bro.
Stop.
Be real with yourself.
Stop it. I am being real. Be real with yourself. You ain't trading Steph Curry. My man's a legend, bro. You ain't trading.
I'm not saying you want to.
I'm not trading this man ever.
But you wouldn't even at least ask him what he wants to do?
No. If he wants to leave and go to Charlotte for a year, that's fine at the end of his career. I'm not trading the man, dude. If he demands to be traded, okay, that's a different story. But anything short of him, which I don't see that's unless his wife wants it done, but I don't see that as just kidding. That's cold. Unless he demands to be traded, I don't see Lake Up or the Warriors even entertaining that. Number one, he's averaging 27 a game. Like, I know he's 38, but this dude's cooking. He's not slowing down. He will at some point.
But see, you're taking it from the wrong side. I'm not saying it as if he's. I'm
not taking it from Eddie's side. Let's clear that up first of all.
My bad, Castaneda. What I'm saying is, I'm just saying, like, again, if I was an outside person and I'm like, hey, man, like, we can't get him any more help. There's nothing we can do anymore. We're stuck where we're at. This is the team going forward. You know, for his sake, do you approach him and say, hey, I can't do anything else. If you want to stay, we want you here. It's not what you're. I mean, but if you need to chase that last ring, we understand.
When you put it like that, hell no, I'm not trading you. Never trade Steph Curry.
I had to ask, bro.
Insane,
bro. I was just being real with myself, bro.
What about for Dario Saric and Devin Carter in a first-round pick?
Be real with you, bro. Curry, no. Hell no, man.
I get it.
45 shooting threes.
Bro, you're talking to the guy. Hey, I had to watch Jordan go to another team, so I get it. I 100% get it, man.
I can't relate to any of that. My team
the worst thing I ever saw was him in a Wizards uniform. It was the worst thing I've ever seen, man.
Yeah. Worst. No. That's your question. No.
Okay. What'd you have, David? I know you were.
No, I said, man, if just to close up here, man, when are you guys coming out to drink some wine, man? We talked about it.
Hey, let me get in here real quick, bro. David is a high roller in Napa, dude.
I hear. That's what I hear.
Me and my wife went there for our anniversary late last year. I hit up David for some recommendations for spots. This man hooked me up. I went to this winery. I had more marble in there than D-Lo's house, bro. It was insane, bro. It had my name on there, everything. It was like, I was like, damn, man.
Yeah. And I'm glad you had a good time.
David's connected.
I only show up to real friends events, sir. That's but now you just messed up because now everyone's gonna be blowing David up every time they go to Napa.
All right. Hey, everyone ain't got it like that. That's all.
That's true. No, David's good people. I know I got to get out. I talked to my girl about that. Actually, not too long ago. That we got to hit Napa up at some point. As just us two.
Hey, pass on Yountville though. That place bougie as hell, man.
Where is it?
Yountville.
Yountville is basically one main strip with a bunch of overpriced crap.
No,
hella old white people there. That's it.
I just remember when we went because every year we're not doing it again this year. That what's the concert called?
Bottle Rock.
So it's gotten worse and worse every year. Like we didn't like the lineup this year. I'm like, I'm not paying $250 if there's not a day of solid. Like I want to go see everybody that day. So we're like, we'll skip it. But when we went the last time, we were downtown. We hit a couple of the spots up. It was funny because there was people on the street selling Molly. It's nuts, bro. It's nuts. But it was cool. Like we met some cool people. But I definitely like the first restaurant we just got drinks and appetizers. That was like $150 right there. I was like, Jesus, okay, that's what we doing, huh? Okay.
Hey,
I'll take you guys to the local spots, man.
That Brazilian steakhouse, though, man. It was like y'all phone.
Okay.
Man,
nice.
It's good.
Yeah, more meat than a Dallas nightclub, bro. It was popping over there, bro. It was. Woo.
You're turning Michigan on right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much for that old man. He took his hymns.
I aim to please.
All right, man. We'll let you go, Dru.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. David,
we appreciate you, brother.
Come on
Always,
nice to share a different opinion and have some, have some different viewpoints on the situation. So I appreciate the conversation, gentlemen.
Always, Absolutely. Brother. Always. We love you, man.
Yeah. Cheers, my guys.
Cheers. All right, good stuff, man. We appreciate Dru coming out. I was messing with him earlier before the show ended, and then he hit me up afterwards. I was like, yeah, man, just come through, bro. We got a little time for it. And it's topic of discussion, so, it is what it is.
Man, I don't care what nobody says. Man, nobody in this world could out-talk Dru.
No.
Dru freestyling like Corrupt and KRS on that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I love, man. And, of course, I look up and Toronto's up 84-78, so –
I just saw that right now.
They took the lead. Not surprised. It seems like Kings are always a team of halves. So So what do you think? And I wanted to, I saw Joe had been waiting, so that's why I kind of got to him. But I want to circle back a little bit. What's your opinion on Domas at this point? Like, are you looking to? Are you personally? Are you looking to move him? Are you looking to try to make it work? What do you think at this point? Does he even have value?
That's the thing. I don't know what they can move him for, because I mean, this is almost to like, what Dru is talking about. Like, are you just going to move him for peanuts? Or are you going to hold out for a better deal? Because the way this team's currently constructed, I wouldn't mind moving Domas, because I don't think that I don't see him being around for a rebuild, with a bunch of young players and going through that. So knowing where this team is going, and we think that Scott Perry is going to go for a full rebuild, or at least tear it down, a little bit. I don't see Domas being around for that. So knowing that, yes, I think that I'm for trading him. Now, if they add a couple of young pieces and they're able to like maybe hit in the draft, I wouldn't mind keeping him. But again, if he's going to start getting rid of some salary and tearing this thing down, that I just don't see Domas wanting to be a part of that. I don't see him being a positive, for something like that, for lack of a better term. I don't know. I just don't see him playing well in a situation like that. So yeah, I think I'd be okay with moving him.
I'd be okay with moving him. I think the biggest thing is the salary. I think it's like if he was, Adam Malik Monk salary, or somewhere in that range of a second and even 30. Right now he's getting paid like a one, and no one wants that contract. Not for him. I don't think so. I don't think there isn't a want for Domas, because I think he helps a lot too. I think he can help a team like Golden State. I think he can help a team even like Miami. Like, I think there's a lot of teams that he could. I think Houston would be a good spot for him in certain ways. I think there's a lot of teams he can be on, but not at that salary. Like, nobody's trying to eat up $50 million a year for him. No. Like, that cripples you. And especially if you already have stars and you're just looking to plug somebody to take you to the next level. Like, nobody can afford 50, because you already have guys on your team that are making $60 million a year, $50 million a year, even $45 million a year. Like, so trying to add him to a contender, like, that's not going to happen. And he'd have to go to somewhere like Brooklyn, or someplace that has such, has that kind of cap space and is willing to take it on, because they're like, hey, why not? Right? Like, and maybe they buy him out at some point.
And I don't see a team just giving up, significant draft capital for that either.
Right.
I mean, he's, we all laughed at the Gobert deal, but I mean, he's not getting half that.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I mean,
close.
He might not even get one first-round pick, depending on what, the Kings are asked to take back, because if they're going to give up some, let's say somebody puts a trade package together, it's probably going to be, maybe a low first-round pick or something like that. Maybe somebody else is on a team. And then it's going to be salary filler. And then, the Kings might be stuck with a couple of $25 million contracts that they can't move or something like that. Kind of reminds me of when they traded Weber. And, I think Ham was talking about one time, and they took on, I think it was Kenny Thomas, Brian Skinner, and I can't remember the other player, because they wanted to break that contract up, and it was supposed to be these guys were easy to move. Man, they couldn't move Kenny Thomas to save their life. That dude was on the team. It seemed like, it seems like he's still on the team. It's like they didn't benefit in any kind of way. They didn't get no good draft picks or anything like that. And I think that's what could happen if you trade Domas. So
I'll say one thing about the trade stuff is, as much as I say you can, and we say you can't. Dru made a good point on this, and it's because it happens at least, well, not semi recently, but it usually happens once a year, where all it takes is one team. Mm-hmm. All it takes is one team that's willing to do the stupid move, and you get a Gobert like trade. You get, whatever. Like, you get teams that do these trades that you're scratching your head. You get Luka is a perfect example of, like, just takes one team and all of a sudden you see a miracle happen. So that is true. It just doesn't seem that team has ever been Sacramento that gets the benefit of something like that. So it's usually like a major team, like again, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, somebody like that, somebody in a big market. It rarely happens where the small market team gets the good end of the stick on that. So,
Oh, you're right though, Drew. as much as I want to just do that,
I didn't want to say it. There was a point where nobody thought the Bulls would be able to unload him.
It takes one sucker. The Kings were the sucker.
That's it. Say it on the street. It only takes one sucker and get the deal done. So we were that sucker. Well, I was on both ends of that one. So, but yeah, like it's a fact. So I mean, it's possible. It's just unlikely, right? Like it's just highly unlikely. But like we said, I don't know what you get back for him. But at this point, and I think I said it last week too, is I don't care what they give back.
Yeah.
Like I don't need anything significant back. I just need you to get that money off the books. And then, if that means, and that's the restart to me. It's like, all right, the money's off the books. Did you get all the first rounds you wanted? No, but you weren't going to get that anyway. But at least the money's off the books and you can start doing whatever it is that you want to do because you're not hampered by that money. You have these expiring contracts. Cool. Give me the expiring contracts for this dude. Like whatever it is to at least just move the process along faster. I'm good with that. If you can't, then you can't. Like it is what it is. But if you ask me, would I rather have Domas or any of these three guys that we're talking about? Really, is Domas, Zach, and DeMar, or will I take these expiring deals? I'll take for all three of them. I'll take nothing but expiring deals. Not one draft pick. Let's go. It's done. The money's off the books. We look like Brooklyn at the end of the year. Cool. Like so be it. And then you do whatever it is. Hey, you got a clean slate. Whatever it is you're going to do. It might take a couple of years, but go for it. It might
see when you put it like that. That's why I'd be more in favor of moving Domas than I would for Zach or DeMar. To keep Zach and DeMar then, because at least DeMar is only a partial guarantee.
That's true.
You can get rid of him. Levine has that one more year, and it's hard not to see him exercise that. To get.
Oh, he's exercising.
He's getting that money. But again, too, he's an expiring deal after that, where Domas has multiple years of $45 to $50 million a year. That the Kings are going to be shelling out. I mean, I'd be way more inclined to move him than the others. But again, that's going to be easier said than done.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But like I said, I think that's why for me, he is number one on that list. Like you just kind of gave the bulletin points on it, is because his is the most unmovable one. If I can move that for garbage, I'm okay with that. DeMar, like you said, it's already expiring. There's no reason to move him unless you're actually getting something of value back, a pick. Even if it was like, I know it has to be money involved, but like even if you gave me an extra second round pick for it, I'd take that just to have an extra pick. Mm-hmm. And then like you said with Zach, like, yeah, you're probably – he's going to exercise it. I really don't want to see him on the team next year, though, at all. And nothing personal. It's just I just don't want to see I hate, to a lesser extent, and this is a blasphemous take, and it's okay, because I've always said, it always hurt me to watch Vince Carter play, and not because he didn't look amazing at times, but I just saw what could have been Jordan, because to me, he was the most God-given talent player I've ever seen. But I always felt like he used that ability. He didn't use that ability to its fullest. He just was content on being this high flyer. He didn't even get that three-point shot till like the end of his career, kind of like Jason Kidd. So it's like I see Zach in that. He got a lot more than Zach ever got out of his, that's for sure. But Zach is that player, like every time I watch him, it's like, God, bro, you're like the most talented dude in the league.
Yeah, he can do everything.
He can do anything anybody in this league can do, bar none, but he doesn't. And that's the mental part of it, right? Like there's a mental wall somewhere in that dude's head where he won't allow himself to take the next step. And I don't think it's lack of work, because from what I hear is he has good work ethic. It's just whatever it is, game time wise, he refuses to take it to that next level. There's not that switch in his head. There's not, again, I know Jordan is the upper edge, but there isn't that Jordan switch. There isn't that, LeBron switch. There isn't that even. There just isn't that number one switch, but the talent is there.
Mm-hmm.
The talent is absolutely there. So that's the most frustrating thing to watch, man.
I mean, I've seen him too in games where, I mean, he can be an excellent passer too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen him just drop some dimes and then sometimes just throwing the ball away. Or like you said, something doesn't click when, for the whole game. I mean, the guy has every ability. He can shoot. The guy can go above the rim. He actually has decent handles. I mean, he's not, Iverson or nothing like that. But
even defensively, if he wanted to, he could be a terror.
He's athletic enough to be a good defender. So I don't know. Yeah, there's just something with him that
for some reason in his head, it's the Homer meme that just takes a back step into the grass and disappears. Like I don't know what it is and don't know why, and I don't know if he even knows why. I think it's a fascinating study. Like I really do think he's like a fascinating study of what could have been if everything had clicked properly. But it is what it is. I have to watch it in Chicago. I watched it in Sacramento. Yeah, I've had enough of it. I just don't want to watch it on a nightly basis because it pisses me off. So
one of the things I was going to ask you about too is something they talked about on the show today. I guess it's pretty much accepted that trade for him was made by Vivek. Do we really think that Vivek's going to stay out of things and let Scott Perry do his job? Because, I mean, that's everything right there. It doesn't matter who the Kings trade or what they do. If Vivek's still meddling and insisting the Kings draft for certain players or not allowing certain things to happen, none of this is going to matter.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he knows how to do that in the long run. Like, I think he'll do it temporarily, and he probably told Scott whatever. But I think when it gets down to the trenches, when it gets down to the last minute draft picks, to the last minute trade, I think he can't help himself but to be Jerry Jones. So, and maybe he won't. Maybe he'll, maybe he's learned. But I need to see it. I need to see history not repeat itself. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's move on a little bit. Let's do some football before we get out of here. Did you watch? I watched games this weekend, but did you watch any games?
Oh yeah, I watched them all.
Okay,
entertaining. Man. Okay, going back. I know this is. I know you wanted them. I wanted them to pull it off too, man. I wanted Chicago to win that game, but man, I mean, it's a game like that where you can see it with Caleb though. Yeah, they didn't end the game they wanted to, how they wanted to, but it can't be talked about enough. That throw that dude made.
That was insane.
And don't tell me he threw that up for a prayer too. He threw it to that man.
He knew where he was throwing it to.
Yeah, he scrambled and he off of his back foot, he knew exactly where he was going with that ball. I mean, not at first. Of course he scrambled. But when he uncorked that throw, he knew where he was going with it. I mean, it was just that there's not too many guys who can do that.
Off his back foot from the 40-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's insane, man. And on the money. Like, don't get me wrong, there was some defensive breakdowns there. Obviously, you need everything to go right. But it wasn't even like Komet like had to reach for it or had to like do a one-handed spectacular. Like, it literally fell into his lap.
It was right there.
It was right there. So that's nuts. And that's the thing, right? Like he's amazing at the amazing throws, and then at the regular throws that should be sometimes some of those throws 10-yard, 5-yard passes sail. So that's the things he has to work on, right? And even the interception, while I didn't like necessarily him, I hate when, I know it happens a lot and it's part of being a quarterback. I really hate sometimes when quarterbacks throw to a spot where somebody's supposed to be, because sometimes it's like, well, how do you know they're going to be there, right? Like, and especially in that crucial part of the game. But DJ Moore, for sure, stopped running the play. He's done it a couple times this year. I still love Moore. I still think he's a good veteran to have, but it's definitely a discussion that the coaching staff and them need to have with him about doing that stuff, because he's too good to do stuff like that, leave his quarterback out to dry like that. But again, like, it's also the play calling. Like, if I'm the coach, I'm going to tell you, man, it was the one part of the game, once they stopped them in overtime and they were marching down the field and all they needed was a field, I'm like, that second to last play before that, I was like, please don't take any shots.
Right.
Just methodically move this ball 15 more yards and take your shot at you don't need a touchdown. You don't need anything spectacular anymore. All you need is to rely on your kicker, who's been good all year. This is not a double doink year. Like, this guy has been on the money. So let's just get 15 more yards. Do it the Bears way. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Maybe a pass, but nothing like extravagant. And then you went and took a shot. Like, I didn't like the play call for that.
What down was it? What down was it when he threw that ball?
I want to say that was, I think that was second down.
I know, that's what I was
second or third.
That's what I was going to say. I thought it was second down, but even if it was third, man, I would have tried for something for some yards, because wasn't it? It was like 3rd and 4 or something like that.
It wasn't anything. Yeah, it wasn't like a long yardage.
I mean, or even you know, a called quarterback run or something. You know, I mean, just get some yardage at that point, and at least, you know, if you don't get it, then punt the ball away. But
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I know this is but as much as, you know, there's so many things.
Yeah.
Rome not catching the ball on that first drive. Ben Johnson not taking the field goals after that, which you wouldn't even need overtime if you just took your points. Always take the points in the playoffs. But even at the end of the game, after that crazy throw, I was okay with like, yo, bro, fuck this. They're reeling. They don't know what's going on. Go for the 2-point conversion. I don't care anymore. I get it. That's not the greatest call. It's overtime at home. You're in control. I get that too. Like, I was okay either way, to be honest. But if all these things that you're always doing, like, then just go for it, bro. Go for the 2 and live with what the results are. But still, a great year, phenomenal year. You see the talent this team has. I always say this. I'm not trying to take a jab at the Kings, but I'm going to anyway. Don't be the Kings and sit on your laurels after such a great, phenomenal year. Go get what you need to get. Make sure Caleb's in the lab. Make sure he's painting those nails dialed up. You know what I'm saying? Ready to throw. Like, have him working on his stuff. Bring in the players that you need to bring on defense, because that defense held out a lot more than they should have, but they weren't great all year. And let's build on this. You know what I'm saying? Let's build on this, because it doesn't get any easier. You're not going to win all these 1-point games like you did this year next year. You got still Green Bay to contend with. Detroit's going to probably come back and come back full force. So nothing's guaranteed, especially in football. You can go from first to worst in a heartbeat. We've seen that. So, build on it. Congrats to the Rams. They probably were overall the better team.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, because I think up to this point, this has been one of the most phenomenal playoffs in general. And I think we're about to have a lull. Like, I think it's going to be like, it's been hyped up so much, and now Bo Nix is hurt. So we expect New England just to cakewalk into the final, into the Super Bowl. I don't know what's going to happen between the Rams and the Seahawks. I think that's a great game.
I think it's going to be a good game.
Yeah. I don't have a rooting interest, to be honest. Like, I don't really care. I don't hate for either one. Huh?
Sorry, Young Zell. The only team I want to lose right now is the Broncos. So
I feel for them, though, because especially for that play to be the second to last play, it was an unnecessary play.
Seriously.
So, like, Sean Payton deserves a lot of heat for that. It was a very unnecessary play. He didn't need to run that play. So he put his team in a bind. I don't know how somebody I know anything can happen. I had a friend of mine argue with me about, well, anything can happen because he's a New England. And I'm like, man, if you guys don't get into the Super Bowl, that's the biggest choke job ever. Like, you're being handed the keys. No, well, you got to play the game. Well, I get all that, but you're playing a backup quarterback that hasn't thrown literally since the preseason, hasn't played a meaningful game in 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it's been. There's no reason that you guys shouldn't be ready for this game if you're as good as you say you are.
Yep.
So, and then after that, it's whatever. Rams, Seahawks. I'm going to tell you, I kind of want Seattle to go because I feel for Darnold. I feel like no matter what he does, the next sentence is always, but can he win the big one? Even if he wins games, it's still, well, he can't win the next one. Well, he can't win the next one. Well, he can't hit. Bro, he's been winning 2 years in a row. He's won. His records are phenomenal. Oh, he had a bad playoff? Who hasn't had a bad playoff?
Right.
Have we seen some of Josh Allen's playoffs where he three, 4 picks. No one says anything about him. Like, this was his first foray into the playoffs, really, like last year. And yeah, they had a bad game. So what? You know, like Barry Bonds had some of the worst batting averages known to man in the playoffs.
Seriously.
Like, come on, man. They always do that to like one person where they just drive a stake into it. It's like, I hope that dude wins. I hope he wins a Super Bowl so he can stick it to everybody's, you know, like stick it to everybody.
I'll say this too. I mean, you know, I heard Kenny say it, and when Devin was on, they're like, oh, well, you know, when have we seen him do it? Bro, I mean, as TC would say, be real with yourself. Do you honestly think the Jets were in position as a team to put Darnold in position to be able to win a playoff game? No. Who was the next team he was on? He was on Carolina. He's on the Panthers.
Yeah, and then the Niners. Yeah, that was a horrible team.
That team wasn't going anywhere. The Niners were the first competent team he was on. Then he went to the Vikings and had a great season. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he hasn't had that many chances to do it in the playoffs.
That was his first foray. Like, what did you like? How many guys in their first? Like, yeah, he had a horrible. So what, man? Like, he's learning. Like, so what? Like, oh, now he can't win the big one. Like,
it's not like he was in the playoffs every single year and he was just losing like 5 times in a row. You know, it is. And I'll say, as being hating everybody in my division, I would love for Minnesota to have to sit back and watch Darnold after they gave up on him because he had a couple bad games down the stretch of that year. He went like 14-3 still. Yeah. God forbid somebody goes 14-3 and they can't get a job for that team. Like, cool. And no, and I get it. They had drafted JJ. I get all that, but it hasn't worked out so far for them. They don't even know if JJ's the man at this point because he can't stay healthy. So I think Darnold winning would be sweet. That's sweet chin music to me. So I would love to see that just for that simple fact. And like, kudos to the Niners because he credits Brock and them for showing them how to, like, his work ethic and showing them how to practice every day and all that. Like, hey, man, he's done something. He's got a great, you know, he's become a starting quarterback. He's in the conference finals, ready to go to the Super Bowl. So, like I said, I don't have a winning stake in either team. Like, so I would like, just as a story, I would love to see him go to the championship. So, we'll see. I'm actually disagree with somebody who said Devontae should win in F Devontae.
Yeah, F Devontae. I don't care about no Devontae.
You don't need to win nothing.
He's a Green Bay Packer. I don't need him to see him win. Did you watch the college football championship?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I don't think Mendoza did anything to cause the Raiders not to pick him number one. And I get that. And this is kind of dovetailing into draft conversation, I know, cool. But and I get people saying, "Oh, well, the Raiders don't have a good enough team for a quarterback," but man, I think you got to draft the quarterback, and I think he did enough to prove that he's worthy of the number one pick. Now, in watching that game, man, I honestly, man, I thought Miami was going to take it. Mm-hmm. when did they tie it? Yeah, when they tied it, or I think they either came within 1 point or something like that. I can't remember what the exact score was, but it was. And another thing, hold on, I'm going to ask you this real quick. Man, I'm all over the place right now just because I'm thinking of stuff that was happening in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And how long has Beck been in the damn college? What was it, 5 years or 6 years? I can't remember how they said.
He's like on his 7th year or something. This is crazy.
I swear I've seen that dude in like 5 or 6 bowl games.
I believe he didn't even. I think when he started college, he definitely didn't have that receding hairline. So I don't know. Now he's almost looking like Michigan. He's like this close to being Michigan. So that hair is. I don't know why he keeps that little bit of hair that he got up there. He's been around forever. Like I think even like there was like an interview that went viral where they asked him if like he hasn't, like he's like, I graduated like 2 years ago or so. He said something stupid. I'm like, Jesus, this NIL shit, dude. Like and I'm gonna get into that part of it too, because it plays heavily into Indiana coming out of nowhere and being this, juggernaut. But going back to Mendoza real quick, I think you definitely have to choose a quarterback, right? And I think right now he's the consensus number one. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like it's a no-brainer. But I'm not fully convinced on him as being a franchise quarterback. Now, I'm not saying he can't be, right? I just feel like even he came out of nowhere to an extent as far as being on that level. I knew about him. I've seen him where he's been in other stops, but like this was the first year where he was like, oh, snap, right? Like he had this perfect scenario for him. So I wonder, sometimes quarterbacks like that, like you put them in the league and that just wasn't for them. They just happened to be at the right place at the right time, in the right system, in the right, spotlight. So I hope he's the right quarterback for you, because that would be devastating for him. Because I don't know who else he would draft. I mean, I like Trinidad a lot. I do like Trinidad a lot.
Yeah.
But he's a little short. He's a little bit kind of Baker Mayfield like, where he's a little not undersized as far as height. But I think his ability is better than Mendoza's. It's just I don't know how that translates into the league.
Well, I mean, that has to be the Raiders' biggest fear right now, is that they get the number one pick again in, and maybe that guy isn't the guy. Because, I mean, the last time the Raiders had that number one pick, of course, we all know what happened. They picked Jamarcus Russell, which, everybody has a little bit of hindsight in that one. I think, most teams in that position probably would have picked him. But, again, I think people are –
this is selective hearing right here, but go ahead. I'm like, no, I said he was a dog at Indiana. I'm talking about before Indiana. Like, he came out of nowhere at Indiana, basically. He wasn't in a Heisman race any other year. I mean,
I'd also like to see, again, I know that you have to take it with a grain of salt, but I do want to see him, what he does in his pro days, how he does it, just everything, and see, how he throws. Because he does kind of have one of those weird releases too. He kind of has that. It's not as bad as Phillip Rivers, but he I don't know. It does look a little.
Michigan, you're right. He was good at Cal, but he wasn't Heisman good at Cal.
What happened?
That's all I'm saying.
Did I freeze or did you freeze?
We're good. We're good.
Okay.
I just don't think he was. I'm not talking that he's not a good quarterback. I'm saying, first of all, I do think he's the number one pick regardless. Like, I'm not.
I do too.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no question that I think sample size as a great quarterback is smaller than as a good quarterback. And I'm not sure how that translates necessarily on the next level. But I do think, if I had to be put on the spot, I was like, yeah, I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. I just don't know if he's going to be a great quarterback. And depending on what you're putting with him, like, hopefully they develop it properly, right? Hopefully they surround him with weapons, because at the end of the day, you can be a really good quarterback and still suck on a team if you don't have the right people around you regardless. So the Raiders still have a lot more moves than just him to get right. So, there's that too. But it never hurts having the number one pick, especially when the number one position is a quarterback that you need. So,
well, hopefully his GM knows what he's doing, because again, a team like the Raiders, they have like something like $100 million in cap space. They got these, higher end draft picks, and we'll see what happens. But I do want to see what Mendoza could do with Bowers, with Genty. The Raiders still need some receivers, but and again, when we're talking about, we kind of got into a little bit, but people are talking about the Raiders job that's open. It's, to me, depending on, what this GM knows, if he's good or not. It seems like it's not as bad of a job as maybe a couple of years ago, because again, you have not a quarterback, but a coach who can come in and you basically get your, if they like Mendoza, you get your guy. You start from scratch. You start with a quarterback. You start with a fairly young line, because they draft linemen, and we'll see what happens. But
is there somebody that you like?
What'd you say?
Is there somebody that, I mean, a couple of jobs have been taken, obviously Harbaugh, but is there somebody out there right now that you would like to see them pull the trigger on for coaching?
Man, I don't know, but I think I've heard them interview a couple of defensive coordinators. I think they have to go with the offensive mind, especially if you're drafting a quarterback, unless you're going to have one of those top end, offensive coordinators to come and, and coach this kid. I think they have to go offense. I heard one of the Kubiak's being mentioned for the job. Maybe he brings his brother with him to, as the O coordinator. But I honestly don't know who. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know who they're talking to right now either.
I think if you're going to go with a coordinator if you're not going with an established person like Sean McDermott or one of those guys who I think they should at least interview, but that's on them, right? I do think you go. I would go with Kubiak. I would go with the offensive coordinator Kubiak. I think he's a great scheme caller. I like what he does. I like his moxie. I think he's the best choice if you're going with that, right? A brand new young coach. If you're going to go with a veteran, if you want, I think you got to go talk to Scott. I just think you have to. I wouldn't. I don't. I put the pause on Pittsburgh.
Tomlin.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like you said, that's more of a defensive-minded coach. I don't think that's what you need right now. You need someone like that comes in and builds that bond with Mendoza and that offense first, I think. So, yeah, I think I would go with Kubiak. It seems like they're taking their time. So that would lead me to believe they're leaning more towards a younger coach, more of a first-time coach. So, because I think when you want to go after any of the other guys, you have to move more quickly. Guys like Tomlin and guys like McDermott, they get scooped up pretty fast because of the experience and stuff. So, yeah, I don't, like Saleh. I don't think Saleh would have been a good fit. Like I like him a lot, but I think, that wouldn't have been the place for him. I think he went to the right place, to be honest with you, if he was going to go somewhere. And we'll see how that works out for him. I know a lot of women in the Bay are mourning right now that he's gone because they like looking at him. But I don't know if Tomlin's. I don't think he's done. I know he said he's going to take a sabbatical. I think he's going to be on CBS or one of them. Yeah, he's taking a year off. But also, I think money talks. Like guys say that all the time, and then a team throws a bag of money at them, and all of a sudden they're coaching again. And they have full control. Oh, you want to be GM and coach? Oh yeah, I can be that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, see, I
guys
think
change their minds all the time.
I think Kyle and John Pohl said it. See, that's who I was thinking of. The Raiders were interviewing that Panthers defensive coordinator, and I don't know, man. To me, that's underwhelming. I mean, he could be a great coach. He could end up being somebody, who's worth a look. But again, I just think if you're drafting a quarterback this high, I think you go with an offensive mind. But shit, what do I know?
Yeah, but back to the championship. It was a great game. It looked like Indiana was going to pull out, and then Miami was giving them a run. They were scoring. They just couldn't stop them. Every time they scored, Indiana would score again. They couldn't get that last stop before. And I thought that last throw, I thought if Duda could have sailed it a little bit more, he was breaking for the end zone. He was. Yeah, he was, and I don't think anybody would have caught up to him. I think but it had to be the perfect throw, right? He definitely underthrew it, and that was game, and that was kind of indicative of Carson Beck, to be honest. I'm not sure where he fits on the next level at 35 years old, being a 10-year senior. But also, I think Indiana is such a crazy story because 10 years ago, this isn't even possible. You wouldn't even see a team like Indiana be able to put a team together in 1 year like this. And this is a team that historically was never a football team. It's like what Northwestern was before Fitzgerald got there. It was it's just one of those schools you don't identify. Indiana is a basketball state. It's what it's known for. It's what it's always been known for. It's never been a football it's never been anything football wise. And then out of nowhere, here comes NIL comes, and now you can get all these transfer portal guys, and now all of a sudden you put this team together for a 1 year shot, and here you are, and then you already see the day after the championship, Mendoza's brother's already transferring out.
I saw that.
So that was already planned. That's the crazy thing to me is I don't think about the fact that he transferred out. I was because I understood why, right? They they sign somebody else through the portal. But it's the fact of like mentally, you're gone. Like, yeah, you're on the sidelines, you're cheering for your team, but like, what happens if your brother gets hurt? What happens if you have to go into the game? Like, your mind is already at the next school. You already know where you're going. You're just standing there waiting for the day to pass so you can announce your transfer. Like, you can't tell me mentally that doesn't affect somebody, that doesn't affect the way they play or where their preparation is and all that. So like, it's a whole new ball game, even mentally for these, and they're kids. Let's be honest, they're still kids to an extent, and so that can't be easy either. Like, and now like I said, with NIL guys, they shift back and forth, go to all these guys only stay out of school for a year before they go for more money more NIL money somewhere else. Like, all that stuff has to be put under control somehow. Like, I know we're at the beginning stages of all this, but we talked about it before. We're like, at some point, you got to be held accountable too for what you're signing, and we see that happening. There's a couple cases that are upcoming where, like, I think Duke is suing their quarterback who just tried to transfer. There was the one stalemate, I think it was at Washington, I think, where he was going to leave and then he came back, and then like all that. So like,
man, like how long though until they start talking about a salary cap in college football? Because it's what's stopping these big schools from just throwing all kinds of money out there, man. It's said they're going to probably make a salary cap, and it's going to be no different than the pros coming out.
But even with that, like, I think for me, the more thing that they need to get a grip on is, and I get it, like, it's the hypocrisy of, well, coaches can leave at any time. Mm-hmm. But it's also, if you're going to be able to jump ship, like, here's my thing is, like, once you sign with the school, there should be a rule, like, hey, if the coach leaves, it's a free for all as far as I'm concerned. Like, there should be no penalty if you transfer. You shouldn't have to sit out a year. But just like the coach sticking around, if a coach sticks around, you sign an NIL deal. And if you sign a 2-3 year NIL deal, it's a binding contract. Mm-hmm. So you can't just walk to the next NIL deal. Like, at some point, contracts do have to be held accountable to an extent. And there's just little things like we knew this was going to happen once the floodgates open, that something, at some point would happen that would cause, discussions to have. And it's probably one of those things that takes 4, 5, 6, 10 years to get right, or even anywhere close to right. It's going to go through its motions. Things are going to happen. It's going to take that one big case that goes to like a Supreme Court judge, or it gets all the way to that where they have to make a ruling, and then that's going to change the whole landscape at that point. It's just those things. Everything is, it is what it is. And Pose, I get it. Like, they did his brother dirty because they signed somebody else. I'm not saying he's wrong for transferring. I'm just saying mentally as a kid, if you're still at this school and you have to wait till Monday, if you have to wait till Tuesday to announce the transfer, you already knew where you were going Monday night as you were sitting there at this championship game on a team wearing their uniform, watching your brother play. Like, mentally, you're checked out. You're not going to tell me you're not checked out. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So it's interesting to see play out. It's interesting to see a team like Indiana win a championship, go undefeated, win a championship at a school that has never won a championship. I don't think anybody ever thought they'd win a football championship. Good coach. They hired the right guy, obviously, and got the right players in there. And I wouldn't be surprised if I never see them. I'm not going to say never, because I think the coach is great and he'll probably be able to recruit. But, like, I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't win a championship for another 20 years. Like, that just seems to be the landscape of college sports in general nowadays. And I think that's why you see some of these older coaches that can't do the things they used to do and manipulate the system the way they used to. The hypocrisy of it is why they're retiring so much, right, in both basketball and other sports. So we'll see what becomes of it. But it was just it was a good game. I always say Big Ten school wins, I'm good. If it's not Illinois, I'm good with it being another Big Ten school. Other than Michigan, they can go to hell. But
Well, I think one of the things that's happened too, and what's been interesting the last couple of years is, that supposed SEC dominance, has kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. And, because it was always weird to me how you have a Big Ten school at the time, a Pac-10 school,
Mm-hmm.
or whoever, and they would lose a game. And let's say like an Oregon could lose to, a top 20 ranked USC team. they'd fall from number 1 to number 15, where you get an SEC team who loses to like a 10th or 15th ranked SEC team, and they go from 1 to 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, were they really that dominant, or was ESPN making them that dominant?
Right.
You know, and I don't know. I think it was a little of both.
Yeah. It's a little bit of both. It's perfect. Again, like it's perfect situations. Everything just aligned. It's crazy. Sports is crazy, man. College sports is crazy right now on all levels. Especially basketball and football being the forefront of it, because those are the two biggest money makers in college sports. It's funny to watch. And it's basketball. That's just a whole nother animal. What goes on over there, and they're recruiting, and the leagues, like guys that declared what they got drafted, but because they never played, now they can go back to college. Like it's insane, man. G League players going back to the colleges. Like, I don't know what that's all about. Like, I need to read up a little bit more on that, because I know a couple guys have said, I couldn't tell if it was just Twitter stuff or what, but it was crazy. By the way, Kings lose 122-109. Shocker. Good first half, not such a great second half, but I'm not surprised.
Well, funny enough, man, don't laugh. Doesn't LeBron still have 4 years of college eligibility?
There you go.
He never went.
Go play with. Doesn't he have like one kid that's about to go to, or is he done?
Who, Bryce?
Or
what is
Bryce. There you go.
Bryce.
There you go. Him and Bryce can go play somewhere together.
They're going to go to USC.
That'd be hilarious. So yeah, well, it's crazy, man. It's be interesting. And then, full circle back to the Kings. Went on a 4-game winning. What was it? A 4-game winning streak? Now it's
3. I think.
Was it 3? And now it's a 3-game losing streak. So we're back to square one again. So anybody thought they were making a play, there you go, man. There goes we're back in the lottery, folks.
Domas didn't play.
That's true. So yeah, third straight loss. No, it was a 4-0 start to the homestand, and then now this was the third straight loss. So yeah. All right. We're Kangin again.
Back.
We're back, yo. So back. All right, man. It's a great show. Appreciate Dru again for coming on through.
Oh, yeah.
Getting a little talking. That was awesome. Dr. Dave, appreciate you. Hopefully Katrina will be back in full force next week. See y'all later. Peace.
Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party. We just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.